welcome to the latest episode of the Patriots Only Please podcast. I, of course, am Jeff.
Mr. Soli.
Yep, Jeff, Mr. Soli, Jeff Santana, Michael Soli.
We have Azura. She's our producer today, technical assistant.
Yes,
guru.
Putting out fires, the whole thing.
Putting out fires.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Yes, so we are back. It's been a minute since we last spoke, but it's interesting because the post-debate fallout from Biden is still very real, and I can't believe, well, I can believe, but it's amazing how long into the news cycle it's actually lasted.
Yeah.
Because normally, the news cycle is a day or two.
Right.
But this is so huge, it's still rippling
earth-shattering.
2 weeks later.
It's earth-shattering huge. And we now know that diplomats around the world, the French, Macron, they've all been in on it. They've all been helping Biden move around, like literally helping him move around and not take embarrassing. But you can only cover somebody that far, that senile for so long. And it's the secret's out, the genie's out of the bottle. And I think Democrats are breaking up into two camps. The we're with Joe no matter what, until he decides otherwise. And the ones that are going, we need to get this guy out of here.
Yeah.
Let's start talking about other options, guys.
And they've been having a very open discussion and a very open debate. I mean, listen, of course it's very important, especially for their side. I've kind of enjoyed watching their side implode a little bit because it's kind of retribution for all the fact that they've been hiding this information. Now, look, you and I, a lot of other
people in the know,
clear thinkers out there.
Clear thinkers.
Not only have we known this for years, they've been keeping it secret for years.
Yes.
Which is a huge thing. So what else has
it's not fair to it's not fair to their constituents. It's not fair to voters. It's not fair to Americans who don't really follow politics to be deceiving a country this badly. And let's not forget, the Democratic Party, the DNC, decided to have a closed primary, which means they told their voters, Biden or nobody, Biden or bust, knowing he was senile, knowing he was unfit to serve. Excuse me. Is that treasonous?
Yeah, which speaks to the deeper issue that we kind of sort of touched on a little bit on the last one about, okay, well then, assuming Biden has been senile pretty much from day one since he was sworn in, who the hell has been running things to begin with? That's a pretty deep question. So not only, which is interesting because right now, the conversation in the mainstream media seems to be more about, what are they going to do? Who are they going to replace Biden with? And, I love how Trump is just kind of staying out of it because they're really not talking about him right now. They're talking about how bad Biden is. So he's more
good for him.
Yeah, it's more than happy to give them the spotlight right now. But the deeper issue being who has been running the show. Exactly. And is that not just as important that the media has been keeping that from the people?
Sure is.
The media is complicit, not only in this, but in several layers of this. And for how long? And for what other administrations? And how long have they been lying to us? This opens up a Pandora's box that ripples far into the past, and this has implications, of course, that are going to ripple into the future. It's a big issue.
Huge.
And to just skirt over it, I think, is irresponsible. Go on.
Well, they're still trying to make they're still trying to make Biden look viable. He did the hour-long interview with Stephanopoulos. That was a disaster. A couple appearances at some churches where they say, please stand up and say a prayer. And Joe's sitting down, staring in the ceiling. He has no idea what's happening. God. I mean, the guy is not fit to serve. This job is a particularly difficult job. The Democrats, if they were true patriots, they would demand a cognitive test per the 25th Amendment. Like, we're really thinking about pulling the rug out here. This is too much. And they're going the opposite way. They're still defending him, and it's disgusting.
Some of them are.
Some of them.
So you got to wonder. Like
George Clooney came out. Did you see George Clooney?
I did.
He just did a fundraiser for Joe. He raised a few $1 million for Joe in Hollywood. He's a big liberal, always has been. I'm not letting any secrets out here. And Clooney said officially today, I love Joe Biden. He needs to step down.
Yeah, of course he did, because there's no way to hide it at this point. And the thing about a mega donor like George Clooney is, so goes George Clooney, so goes the donations, and there's a lot of money in Hollywood that gets handed out to the Democrats. And I think that that's going to be the biggest influence on whether Joe decides to to actually leave or not, because the funds are going to dry up. But from what I understand, in my limited knowledge of how the Democrat Party works is that that money can't just go to some other brand new candidate. If they were to bring in a Gavin Newsom or, God forbid,
Kamala.
Kamala is the only one that can lay claim to those funds.
Right.
So, but if they brought in like a Gavin Newsom or anybody else from the outside, they'd essentially have to start from square one.
Right. It's very confusing. It's very difficult for people to understand. One thing is for sure: Joe Biden is unfit to be the president. He cannot continue. He cannot go for 4 more years. He might not make it 4 more months. So the correct thing to do, and this is the guy who just had a meeting at NATO. Do you see this thing he did at NATO? Like the gaffe he made at NATO?
Of course.
That, and he said I was just talking to this guy's wife.
Yeah.
Do you see that? Do you see that?
Yeah.
Everyone was like laughing uncomfortably, like, what do you, and he goes, then he said, oh, sorry. This guy is not in charge of anything, guys. It's becoming laughable now, and when Trump says about the rest of the world not taking us seriously, this is what he means.
Absolutely.
The commander-in-chief, it can't tie his own shoes. That's not good. It's not good for our adversaries to see it. It's not good for other Americans to see it. And the Democrats who are standing by this nonsense, I'm sorry, shame on you.
But he's been in this condition for a really long time.
Since 2019.
At least since 2019, or it started to go downhill in 2019. Everybody that worked with him, his entire administration, the Obamas, the Clintons, everybody, all of the higher ups in the Democratic Party,
elites.
Pelosi, all of them, Gavin Newsom, they all knew. To feign ignorance now at this point is the height of disingenuousness, because they knew
they're lying,
and of course they're lying. So not only does this confirm, this ripples again very deeply. This confirms that Biden is unfit. It confirms that the media has been lying to us about this and everything else. It also confirms that the Democrats are not above blatantly deceiving the American public.
No, of course not.
As is the Republican Party as well. I mean, we're not going to let them. We're not going to let them off the hook either.
No, but
I mean,
the Democrats also have. The mainstream media is the propaganda arm of the Democrats. They're involved. Hollywood, Silicon Valley. I mean, social media suppressing conservative voices. We know from the Twitter dump that the DOJ had weekly meetings with Twitter at the time, Jack Dorsey and his team, telling them who to suppress, what. I mean, it's all turning around now because Elon Musk bought Twitter. Twitter's an open format. They have very few things to grab onto now. They can't call up BLM. Too late for that. That would look very.
They can't even really lean on the mainstream media because now the mainstream media is turning on Biden as well.
They have to.
Which is the big.
Well, they have to. They have to. And you can't hide. I mean, I heard one Democratic congresswoman from I don't know what state it was. This is like from yesterday. She said, I went back and watched the debate, and I think what happened with President. This is a Democrat saying this. She goes, I think he over prepared for the debate. That's what happened. He had so many facts in his head he couldn't get them out. God. And even the Democrat person interviewing her said, "You really think that was the problem? He was over prepared?"
No.
He goes, "Yeah, I think he just over prepared." She goes, "It's an interesting theory. I just think he had a very, very bad night."
Well, his very own press secretary, Karine Jean-Pierre, just walked off the podium when Ducey.
Oh, of course, of course. And by the way, 2 days ago, she was I was on Twitter watching this live feed from a conservative that I like a lot, and he said she's right now as we're sitting here talking, she's an hour late for her press conference, which probably means she's in a meeting somewhere and they're discussing crazy
how
options.
To put out a fire.
And then she went out and lied to everyone for an hour. That's her only job is once a day to be on time to meet the press, and she was an hour late for that. By the way, it goes on and on and on. I have a couple of notes. So what I'm seeing now is the Democrats are trying to, if they were to lose the White House, which is looking more likely every day, and we are hoping for that. We are MAGA Republicans, very proud of our president. Our apparel sponsor, Red Wave Apparel. Check them out online. We'll have a link in the bio of the show in the lower third, where you can purchase their patriotic apparel, where patriotism meets style. I think that's the tagline. What I'm seeing happening nationally now are like Democrat governors are putting these laws into effect that are making. So, for example, Washington State just changed their election laws, and they no longer require proof of state residency or citizenship to vote in their state elections.
That's how they're going to do it.
That's crazy.
Governor
Whitmer, Michigan's, I'm not a big fan of her at all. I think she's a horrendous politician and not a very nice person. Just signed a new bill into law today, which does not allow the state's election board to investigate allegations of voter fraud after elections.
Of course not.
Once the votes are counted in the state of Michigan, that's it.
It's done. It's done. That's it.
How do Democrats? How do you keep? Open your eyes, please. Open your eyes. I mean, you should be able to count votes and check things forever until everyone's satisfied that everything was done illegally and officially. I mean, in 2024 to say you don't need an ID to vote, but you need an ID to do everything else is a slap in the face to reasonable people, to law-abiding citizens, to taxpayers. Who are Democrats benefiting by remaining in that party?
They're
illegal immigrants.
People
cheating the system.
They must think that they're benefiting themselves because I know.
How do you?
But all's fair in politics. It doesn't matter as long as they win and they keep that fascist out, and we can get our abortions.
Well, have you noticed that the RNC is lightened the language on the abortion stance officially?
Of course. Well, because Trump did.
Right. Well, the RNC's adopted it, which means they now have the exceptions in place. Rape, incest, and life of the mother.
Yeah.
They're cool with it. They should have been that way forever.
Sure.
And now they are. And that's the new platform. And by the way, politicians evolve all the time. The current president of the United States in Obama's first term, you can fact check me, please do. Go on YouTube. 2010, they were in the VP debate of that election cycle. Mr. Vice President, Mr. Biden, does the Obama administration support gay marriage? No, we don't. A marriage is between a man and a woman. On and on. Then they evolved. So if they can evolve, so can the RNC.
Sure.
So can Trump.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear anything about this nonsense that only Democrats can evolve in their positions.
Absolutely.
Nonsense.
Absolutely. Well, and that's just never been more apparent than in the optics of the makeup of the party itself. I mean, right now, the Republican Party, for the first time ever, is the most diverse it's ever been.
Absolutely.
I mean, the black vote is just keeps climbing.
Yes.
The Latino vote just keeps climbing. I mean, and all are welcome. All are welcome.
Listen,
please,
if you guys could just do yourselves a favor, look at the history of our country. Look at the history of the Republican Party versus the Democrat Party. The Democrat Party was the party of slavery, of the Judge Dred Scott in the South. Up until Lyndon Johnson, the Democrats were the party of exclusion. The KKK, Democrats. I can keep going. Fact check me. Check it out. They switched their gears in the 60s with Lyndon Johnson for political reasons only. He was as racist as they come. They have audio of him saying horrible things. He was a horrible person. Great. I mean, anyway, my point is the Democrats, if you stack it up, who put Malcolm X in jail? Democrats. Who arrested Martin Luther King Jr.? Democrats. I can keep going. So the Republican Party has always been the party of we don't care who you are, where you come from, what you believe, as long as you are a conservative, have conservative values.
Sure.
That's all we're asking for. Law and order, work hard, do your part. It's very simple. And by the way, today on Instagram, I had a woman reach out to me who's headed up Nevada's Asians for Trump. She wants to come on the show, remotely or in person.
We will.
Asians for Trump, gays for Trump, Latinos for Trump, African Americans for Trump. Let's unite everybody. No, let's stop the Democrats from dividing us by gender, by race, by economic income. Let's knock that stuff off. Let's be Americans. We're here paying taxes, living in this country. Let's unite the right, come to our side. Let's get Trump in office. Let's fix this country and make America first. Let's make America great again.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. It's going to be interesting to see, because the other question is, what happens? I mean, of course, yes, Biden is unfit to serve. He's unfit to campaign. He's unfit to be prosecuted.
He's unfit to. I wouldn't let him run my homeowners association.
Absolutely.
I mean, come on.
The question is, though, is that when do you want to be stuck with Kamala? Ousting Biden now at this point ensures that Trump runs against Kamala. The only other viable candidate that at least has access to the campaign funds without having to start over at square one is Kamala. So, and given how the polls are at the moment, wouldn't it just be better for our side to, okay, Joe, stay in the ring, man. I would kind of like to see him burn up his legacy. Yep. I would love to see him.
I think he's done that. I think it's burned up. I mean, he's still.
So what's another 4 months?
No, listen. I don't know what they're going to do, but it would. I'm listening to people on both sides. It's crazy to see CBS and ABC talking openly about replacing him, but that's what they have to do. If they don't do that, if Joe gets his way, makes it through the convention, is the candidate, I think Trump will destroy him in the second debate, and I think Trump will destroy him in the vote. I think they know that. Mm-hmm. They want him out. But if he stays in, because he is it's hard to remove a sitting president. It's difficult to remove a sitting. It's difficult to vote out a sitting president. They have all the power, all the access, all the But he's not the sitting president. We know that now. He's not running things. He's running from things. He's barely able to function. Mm-hmm. So it's a very unique time in history. There's a reason why. On the front end of the Constitution, you've got to be 35 years old to run for president. Mm-hmm. How about an amendment to the Constitution where on the back end you can't be older than 75 and run for president? I don't know, but if there's an age requirement on the front end, let's add one on the back end. Let's come together as a country and agree an 81-year-old person is probably too old to handle the magnitude of this position.
I would agree. It's funny because if you ever notice after the end of a term, certainly after 2 terms, how much older.
Oh my God!
After look at Biden from 2019 to 2024.
Well, and let's not forget, guys. And this is not our opinion. This is documented facts. Fact check it on any news source you consider a news source. Biden, in addition to being the oldest sitting president ever in the history of this country, has taken more vacation days. 40% of his time is in Delaware on the beach or hanging out watching Netflix. 40% of his time. The busiest job in the world, the most intense, complicated country economy on the planet, strongest military in the history of history, and our president's taken 40% of his time off. Mm-hmm. We now know why. He's probably getting some kind of treatment or senile courses or whatever he's doing, but he's not running the country.
So again, who is?
I don't know. What I do know is Obama is definitely back in the mix. He's around a lot now, deflecting, being on the camera, going, "Hey, I'm perfectly okay," And there's been, and I was listening to the same conservative guy I was listening to today on Twitter, has said that Obama and Joe really aren't friends.
No. They've never liked each other. In fact, Obama has openly, and you can fact check this, has openly said, "Listen, if I could just run it, without having to be the face," and just, he's said that. I know. Or alluded, whatever. I mean, I'm paraphrasing, but
he's also
please check that.
He's also said that if anyone can F things up badly, it's Joe Biden.
It's Joe Biden. So they've never really been friends. So I think at this point, it is definitely the Obama-Clinton contingent versus the Biden, whoever else, But I mean, he's, at least publicly, all of the squad is certainly coming out. AOC is still. The Black Republican or the Black Democratic Caucus, they're riding with Biden. That's what he was saying.
AOC's riding with Biden,
publicly at least.
Cares what she thinks. She's a moron. She just issued try to get articles of impeachment against 2 Supreme Court judges.
Yes.
I
saw that.
She's done nothing in her career so far except make a lot of money. She's worth $25 million on a $150,000 salary. Mm-hmm. It's impossible.
Absolutely.
Corruption. Mm-hmm. So we've got about 3 minutes to go. We're going to wrap this thing up.
Yes.
So in a nutshell, post-debate debacle continues. Mm-hmm. What the Democrats will do, we're not sure of. Biden is hanging on by a thread. He's attacking people. He's making these crazy appearances, trying to make up for the terrible debate. Of course, the left-wing media is back on their perches, some of them are trying to protect him. Some of them. Jake Tapper has kind of been pretty brutal.
All of them have. I mean, and that. See, that is the other question. If they know that they have to start backtracking, or at least they know that they have to start being somewhat honest.
Yeah.
Are they in the pockets of the Clintons or the Obamas? Or, I mean, how deep does this go? And again, conspiracy theory. But, I'm really kind of getting tired of that
I am too.
phrase because all of these conspiracies have turned out to be pretty accurate.
Yeah.
So
yes.
Either way, the people, the press, the political class, as we suspected, have been lying to us.
The Democrat elites have been lying to us.
All of them have been lying to us, and they've been lying to us for a very long time, not just in the last few years. They've been lying to us for decades.
COVID. COVID.
Well, yeah, decades. So I think now this is one of the reasons why I think ultimately they want to get rid of Trump so much, because he either directly or indirectly has opened this Pandora's box and exposed all of the corruption for all to see
100%.
on the left, on the right.
100%.
Because notice there aren't any other major political figures on the right supporting. You're not seeing the Bushes come out for Trump. You're not seeing anybody on the right come out for Trump. In fact, it's the opposite. All of the establishment on the right traditionally is coming out against Trump.
If you're on social media, if you're politically active like we are, you've probably seen this whole, what is it, 2025? What's it called?
Project 2025.
Project 2025 is it's a 3-year-old document, by the way, which the Heritage Foundation, a wish list the Heritage Foundation put together 3 years ago of their wish list, and the Democrats are saying if Trump gets elected, he's going to make all this stuff happen.
Yeah.
Trump has said publicly many times, please fact check this. I don't know anything about Project 2025. My website lists my
Agenda 47.
My Agenda 47 lists my plan of action once I get back in the White House. I have nothing to do with Project 2025. But if you're on TikTok or any social media platform talking, Democrats are listening. What about Project 2025? Wants to take over the world? It's nonsense.
Yes,
it's nonsense. But when I go on my phone and hit the news, I have an independent news thing on my phone. You should learn about Project 2025 to know what Democrats or Republicans really want to do when they get back into office. Of course. Talk about misinformation. It's deliberate misinformation, guys. Don't fall for it.
So many people we know, especially in our world, have just been posting, it's going to be, these talking points. And so it's hard to fact check them because everything that, all the fact checkers lean left as well.
Exactly.
So, but I've certainly been, looking into all of that, but I do know that Trump has disavowed it. He even said some of it's just flat out ridiculous. But the Heritage Foundation has been known to be hostile to Trump anyway.
Yeah.
So again, Trump does not attract the attention or the money of the established political class on the right either.
No.
So the fact that they're all well, at least up until now, until recently, they've all been in lockstep supporting Joe Biden and not trying to make each other look bad. That's a bad sign.
It's falling apart. So to wrap things up, guys, Patriots only, please follow us on any platform you choose. We're there. We'll be here every week until the election and afterward. We're proud conservatives. We're Trump supporters. And I think you're seeing the reason why. Democrats are falling apart. Joe Biden is unfit to serve. Everyone knows it. Everyone's pretending he's the president. Enough is enough. We have skyrocket inflation, an endless war in Ukraine. Israel's fighting to get weapons from us. I mean, it's nonsense. Open borders, 15 million people living off of our taxes. It's enough already. Let's vote Trump back into office. If you're not registered to vote, please register in your respective state. Please follow the show if you would. Like, comment, subscribe, and share. I'm Mike Soley. This is Jeff Celentano. Azura, thank you so much for producing today and being our technical guru. We really do appreciate it. Please follow us, follow the show, follow Conservative Voices. Wherever you are, we're big advocates of all politics is local. So wherever you are, bloom where you're planted, meet other conservatives, go to events, go to rallies if you can. Support actively online, but just get involved. Don't follow the mainstream narrative. Know that Trump really is the answer right now. And this binary choice that we have, Trump is the clear choice. And hopefully our country will prove that in and around November 5th. Vote him back into office. Make America first and make America great again. One last shout out to, that's a pretty good wrap up.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
One last shout out to Red Wave Apparel. Find them online. They're our apparel partner for the show. Make America great again. This is, of course, the official Trump hat. And with that, I think we'll bid you adieu.
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 Yes. Adieu.
Adieu.